Welcome back, nerds. Fino here. 2 years ago, the Japanese server was given a survey to decide 2 events that would be Rerun. Now, for the longest time, I thought it could be any event, filling my head with fantasies of the original Guda Guda Hanoji event coming back with its Okita banner, the one with Guda Guda poster girl. But no, it only goes as far back as CEO Crisis. Luckily for all of us, no one voted for Board Game Apocalypse. Instead, the winners were Lilim Harlot and our subject for today, Chaldea Summer Adventure. And the reason is clear enough. This is a pseudo-lottery event where you can directly farm a large quantity of specific skill/ascension items. Unlike a true lotto, there aren't friend points, QP, mana prisms, embers, or class skill gems, though you do indirectly get QP through currency trade-ins. But here, these are the potential drops for each chest you farm, and that's it. If you're just starting out, that might not seem all that appealing, but a narrower focus like this helps when you're preparing for a large number of servants, especially summer servants, since you can farm seashells here. And for my part, I can tell you that it seems like I never have enough fruits of longevity and comet shards either. That said, there is a real lotto coming this year, and I'll put its contents up on screen. Whether you farm Summer Adventure or Christmas is going to depend on how badly you need specific skill materials. To prepare for farming, you'll want to do 2 things. 1. Acquire a max limit broken copy of Sink Deeper. If you played this event the first time, you should have one. The other you can grab off your friends list. Each MLB copy increases the drop rate of chests by 50%, but this effect has a total cap of 100%, meaning there's no benefit to running more than 2. This lets you run much more aggressive or greedy team compositions. Speaking of which, you'll want to grab Ocean Flyer regardless of how much you plan to farm this event. Not only is it the event damage CE, but it's also one of the best free-to-play options in the game for arts attackers. In my servant guides, what's my usual fallback if you don't have Black Grail? It's Ocean Flyer. It's the hydrogen bomb to Painting Summer's coughing baby. Getting it here saves you the trouble of spending 5,000 mana prisms when it gets added to the Remember Essence list down the road. You get 5 of these for doing the event's point ladder, which you can accomplish by farming and opening treasure chests. This event has other goodies as well, which you'll want to grab if you haven't already. Ruler Da Vinci is the welfare servant for this event, and unlike Sojiro, you will actually need to finish the event's main story to keep her. I have an old servant guide for her and the other Summer Adventure servants on my channel, though you may find I'm a little too positive about a number of them. The meta shifted against the number of servants that came out in this event, especially Summer Kama. But Da Vinci at least sees some niche 90++ use due to her class and targeted charge and buffs. So for those of you looking to dip your toes into higher difficulty team building, she's a bit like training wheels. Not optimal, but if you have a really strong AoE attacker to pick up the slack, she can jury-rig your team into working. You'll see one-off side quests as well, and you'll want to do those too, since they gate other quests that give you shit you really want. In the shop, you'll see treasure maps come up for sale. After you get your copies of Sink Deeper, these are your second highest priority. You get command codes, servant coins, extra levels on Da Vinci, and even an extra grail from these. The last is from fighting Blue Kama, which still isn't a skin to this very day. That's some serious bullshit. The side quests also have a few crystallized lores, and this event as a whole has a lot of them. 7 in total, which is pretty nice considering we're on the cusp of getting a pen 4 and 5. As for the command codes, Shirogami Commander gives party crit damage, mini border drop stars and purges an enemy defense buff, and Bestial Talisman notably applies a curse, which some servants can take advantage of. I will note that if you already got these from the first go-around, you'll get either mana or rare prisms instead. Also, Achilles, Mandricardo, and Blackbeard got costumes from this event. I don't believe you can even try to buy them a second time, but they're in the shop if you don't have them yet. Now let's talk about something that wasn't in the original event. For this rerun, they added a 90++ quest. All our normal talk of slot efficiency goes out the window, because as long as you can run 2 copies of Sink Deeper, you should do the highest difficulty node you can consistently farm. This node sucks ass, by the way. It's nominally a 3-2-1 arrangement with sabers in the first 2 waves, but there are 2 major obstacles in your way. Firstly, there are 2 volatile spawns in wave 1. If you're trying to find a stable arts loop, this is a huge pain in the ass, and you should plan around the single enemy spawn pattern with your refund, but still run an AoE attacker in case you get 2 or 3. None of the event CEs affect the consistency of spawns here, so you just have to deal with the randomness. The other problem is wave 3. The alter ego Sitanai is waiting with 940,000 health. We don't get a really good single-target multi-core pretender until Phantasmoon near the end of the year. I'm like 99% sure I ran Hephaestion into this node a few times when it came out, and I was decidedly unhappy with the results. To deal with Sitanai, I recommend either a Berserker or neutral class attacker with anti-divine, anti-chaotic, or both. For my part, I found that a high NP level Arcueid can brute force the node with Ocean Flyer, 2 Koyanskayas, and an Oberon swap. That footage will have been playing in the background if you want to follow my steps on that. Other high-end attackers include some Ibuki for your AoE component and some Castoria for your single target. She double whammies Season 9 with both anti-chaotic and anti-divine damage. And here's the cool thing about this rerun. If you played the original version of this event, you'll have a max limit broken copy of Sink Deeper. Instead of borrowing another, you can instead run 2 yourself and then borrow a badass Zerctoria with Ocean Flyer instead. At least I'm pretty sure that works. If it doesn't, you'll see me panicking in the comments. When you're team building for this, there's some factors you can leverage. The first is that many Summer servants were retroactively given event damage bonuses, including servants that are already meta attackers like Ibuki and Zerctoria. But even your less good event units can still put up a fight in the 90++ with Ocean Flyer and enough support. You're just gonna have to experiment because there are so many moving parts. Including non-event units, you can leverage servants like Chen Gong, Ptolemy, Summer Jean, Kali, Ash the Savior, Arash, Summer Jalter, Summer Da Vinci, Summer Melusine, and Summer Kama. At worst, budget out 2 slots for Sink Deeper, run as many Ocean Flyers as you have, max limit broken, and if you still need charge, then slap first day of filming or aerial drive onto Arash. Muddle through, cut the fat where you can, and then you can worry about min-maxing backline bond with non-event econ CEs like Chaldea Lunchtime. Over the course of a few runs, you'll be able to fine-tune what your account is capable of. Just remember the basic rule of multi-core team building. 2 attackers up front with a single support, usually Castoria or Oberon. Then you have another support in the back that you swap in for additional charge. If you're running a suicide lead like Arash, then have your 3rd attacker in slot 4, aka the first backline slot. Despite the node itself being kind of a fucker, you're leveraging that second factor I alluded to. The fact that your craft and slots are freed up in a way they normally wouldn't be in a lottery-style event. Lastly, let's talk about the challenge quest. Here you have to fight a 3-bar Kijo Koyo who snowballs as she kills your servants. Yeah, it's got mechanics, and if you want to get more granular on those, I have an older video on this fight from the event's original run. But truthfully, you can Unga Bunga this quite readily with any number of familiar faces. Estrella performs quite well here as a main attacker. So does Van Gogh, who can stunlock the boss. It's worth noting that Dynamom has different mechanics for whether she's fighting children or not, and Van Gogh counts for this purpose. The 2 of them will do reduced damage to each other with their normal cards, so it might be a safe fight, but it won't be fast. For another option, you can use the Immortal team, since Kijo Koyo has no way of countering Castoria's anti-enforcement spam. If you really wanted to, you could probably brute force it with Ocean Flyer and your attacker of choice, but she won't necessarily make it easy for you. Kijo Koyo hits adults much harder than normal, so if your leads take too many unmitigated hits, you'll have a very bad time. On first break, she launches a sequence of debuffs at your frontline, so either pack a cleanse, some source of turn-based debuff immunity, or the command codes that block stuns and seal effects. On second break, she gets even more aggressive, and you'll be seeing her Noble Phantasm more often. So either save major buffs to end this phase quickly, or keep your defensive cooldowns handy. This fight is a lot less obnoxious than it used to be, since it hasn't scaled to account for the increase in FGO's power level. So shop around in your support list if you're having trouble. You may see a funny attacker that can bail you out. Thanks for watching, lads. This week I've got a huge lineup, and you'll want to stop by the streams to see what I'm cooking up. On Wednesday, I'm rolling for the Nikkei Anniversary units and catching up on the new story chapters. On Friday, I'm rolling again, this time for Super Cheater Silver Wolf in Honkai Star Rail. On Saturday, I'll be returning to Gen 1 with the next leg of my Pokemon Yellow Nuzlite. And on Sunday, FGO. If things line up the way I think they are, then we'll have the Strange Fate collab by then, so that'll be even more gacha. I stream at 3 PM Pacific time. See you then.